Welcome into another edition of the Sports Plus podcast. It's January 15th. I'm Corey Miller here with Andy Mohler and Ahmad Hicks. It's a pretty exciting time to be a sports fan in St. Louis right now, guys. Blues are rolling, Cardinals are in the rumor mill, and Ahmad Hicks, reports are that he's back at the gym. It's exciting. It's an exciting time for sports in St. Louis. That last one, everybody's excited about that. I know. I was hoping you.
I am back in the gym and it's going well. I would say like one real week down. I went last week, but that was kind of a joke. But we're in it, and I'm in it to win it for the rest of the year, guys.
All right, we're expecting weekly updates from now on. Let's go Blues here first. So with a win on Wednesday, that's tonight when we're recording this, against the Flyers, they'll have a franchise record 10-game home winning streak and the most points in hockey. So I'm going to flip this a little bit because everything coming out Blues is positive. Is there anything we could even think of that we're worried about when it comes to the Blues? Is there anything even remotely worrisome right now?
Well, sure, because Ahmad talked to talked to Mike Emmerich today, the voice of NBC Sports, and he says he's looking at a team that could be in line for a repeat. Now, if that doesn't send a shiver up a Blues fan's spine, right. I don't know what does.
He said that, and I didn't even get a chance to ask it. That was my next question, and he had answered it for me. And I was just like, wow, if he thinks they have a legitimate chance to repeat, oh, man.
Well, so the fans and all of us people in the media might be a little on the train right now, but the team, they're just the same team they've always been. They're not going to get too far ahead of themselves.
Those guys are as humble as ever right now. And I feel like I was talking about this with another reporter today, but you just feel like you get the same answers from the Blues every time you go over there. They're so locked in, and all they say is, we're focused on the next game. All we care about is winning the next game. Oh, we lost one. It is what it is. Move on to the next game. And that's what Berube said. He didn't even care about the All-Star break. He said, I don't want my players looking too far ahead.
Well, that's the culture that the coach is establishing. Mm-hmm. You focus on the next game, and we don't worry about any of the outside stuff. We don't worry about anything other than the next game.
You're not really worried about balanced scoring because you're getting it from everybody. Ever since Vladimir Tarasenko went down, you're not really worried about the goaltending. You've got two guys who are two of the best goaltenders in hockey right now. I would have been worried about their defensive depth a little bit, but Gunnarsson's ready to go. Parayko should be back right after the All-Star break, and Mikkola has been really good. So I'm not worried about their defense at all right now either. Everything's rosy.
You know, they can be nice and relaxed and say, Colton Parayko, take your time. We don't need you. Don't rush back. We're good. I saw where Jordan Kyrou was told that he can check out of the hotel and he can start looking for a permanent place. So that's good for him, certainly.
I asked him the other day, trying to get kind of a fun response, what his favorite thing about St. Louis has been so far. And he was like, well, I really haven't been able to do much of anything. So hopefully that changes. I'll have something to talk about next time I ask him.
Yeah, I mean, I could say that really the two things you have to worry about are injuries and, dare I say it, airline safety.
Really, though, Andy. I mean, he's just hit the nail on the head, though. And it doesn't seem to matter who gets hurt right about now because everybody just comes in and plays, plays up to that role or fills that void. So I don't think you have anything to worry about. And like Doc Emmerich said earlier today, he said, you just worry about getting in. And he said it's normally hard for teams to repeat because you can't retain all those guys. He said everybody is back but Pat Maroon, and you still feel like they're better than last year with the pieces that they brought in. So it's really scary what this team can do. So
Mike Yeo is also back in town on Wednesday here with the Flyers. It's got to be weird coming back. You look up, you see Stanley Cup banner, 2019. 2019, I was just the coach here last year. I don't remember that. I wasn't there for that. It's got to be weird. I kind of feel for him. Ahmad, you were there. What was everybody saying about Yeo at practice on Wednesday?
Berube, as usual, very dry. Didn't want to give a comment on Yeo. Said he hadn't talked to him, hadn't thought about it. He's focused on the hockey game. Braden Shin said he was thankful for Coach Yeo and what he did for him and the opportunity that he gave him. And that was pretty much the vibe from the rest of the Blues. Didn't want to speak much on the past, just moving forward, locked in. And Coach Yeo, he was not there to talk to us media prior to their team's skate. But Doc Emmerich said, when you get fired, it's not personal, but you can't help but to take it personal. So he took it personal last year, knowing that he had this team in his hands and couldn't do anything with them.
I'm gonna take a leap here and try to pull a Frank Cusimano analogy out of my hat. It's almost like the ex-husband going to pick up his kids, for the weekend or whatever, at the new husband's house, and the husband is like a gazillionaire or whatever, and you're like, what am I doing here?
That's pretty good. I wonder if he got any kind of share, like paid out last year. What do you think?
That's an Andy question.
Well, I don't know for sure, but
Probably.
I know that a lot of the teams you vote on who gets shares and whatever. So maybe he got a piece. I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, All-Star Weekend coming up next weekend. I'm starting to get excited. They just renamed the street in front All-Star Avenue. Town's kind of ramping up. We haven't had a podcast since David Perron won the Last Man In, well-deserved. So now we could see Berube coaching a 3-on-3 line of Perron, O'Reilly, and Pietrangelo with Binnington and net for the Central. That's pretty cool.
My money's
that's
on
pretty
them.
cool.
If they're playing against anybody, my money's on them.
Well, I mean, Perron and O'Reilly together is kind of unfair.
That chemistry, man.
The chemistry,
unreal.
exactly.
Especially in an All-Star game when so usually the opposing goalies are not really that much into it.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Binnington's not going to be that way, but I think Perron and O'Reilly together could score about 8 goals.
Yeah,
It's gonna be fun.
I don't think Binnington's going to mail anything in.
No. I think he'll be trying to be a bit flashy there for the home crowd. I think we could see some fun stuff.
He might be just imagining all those opposing shooters, looking like Jordan Bieber. Justin Bieber, excuse me.
That's pretty good.
Just saying.
Jordan Bieber. No, you're just trying to hide it. You got his songs on repeat on your phone. We know.
Trust me, I've seen his playlist.
Yeah, we know.
I'm glad you didn't go the other way and say, well, you're showing your age, old man.
All-Star Skills on Friday. The events were announced. There's kind of a cool new one. I don't know. It's kind of weird. We'll have to see how it goes. They're going to set these guys up on a 30-foot high platform behind the goal and have them like shoot down onto the ice into targets, like Topgolf, but in the arena. It could be kind of cool.
Well, I saw a story yesterday that that Greg Wyshynski, giving proper credit from ESPN, said that this was going to happen, and I think it kind of took note from the Penguins. Posted a video. I think it was Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin taking shots like from the very top of the arena and shooting into the big net and the small net, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it was something like, what do you think about this for the All-Star Skills in 2020? So kudos to them.
It should be a fun night. I like watching it. Well, I like, what's your favorite? My favorite one's the hardest shot. At least it has been. Because I wish Colton Parayko was an All-Star because I think he would win for sure.
Sure.
And there's a legacy here because Al McInnes used to win it. I think he won it 4 times in 7 years or 5 times.
Well, speaking of Al McInnes here, you're working on some of these All-Star memory pieces on Mondays. I just want to ask, what's been your favorite one so far?
Oh, gosh. It's kind of like, when you've been around as long as I have, and, again, not to brag about being old or whatever, but I mean, I've experienced most of these things. And so it is kind of bringing back the memories, but it's like picking your favorite child. I mean, it's always great to see Chris Pronger, Bernie Federko talking about his first All-Star game, which was Gordie Howe's last and Wayne Gretzky's first. One that hasn't seen air yet. I'm hoping to do it next week. Is on a kind of a somber note, was the 1988 game that was here in St. Louis. Barclay Plager was supposed to be one of the honorary captains, and he passed away. About 3 days before the All-Star game. So they had a very moving ceremony with Bob Plager and Barclay's sons coming out before the game, and that really sent chills up your spine to see that.
My favorite is the Brett Hull one that just aired. Mainly because it was just the most Brett Hull answer. Asked 1992, I believe, All-Star game.
Right.
I got to play with Gretzky, and he said that was all great. Oh, then we went to Atlantic City afterwards, and we had a fun time there, too. So a typical Brett Hull All-Star experience.
Absolutely. Well, and that All-Star game was shrouded in turmoil beforehand and afterwards, because that was when Adam Oates, made his stance that he wanted yet another contract extension. The Blues weren't giving it to him, and so it was who was going to blink first, and they went to the All-Star game, and then came back to all that turmoil, and about 3 weeks later of all that song and dance, then Oates finally got traded to Boston.
I'm looking forward to seeing the fastest man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool to see.
I think
It's
that's
cool.
always interesting. I went skating with my girlfriend in Chicago over the holidays.
Oh yeah,
for New
posting.
Year's
I
Eve.
saw your Instagram
I
picture.
felt like a skater for real. But it is so hard to balance on those skates. I mean, for you all listening, like I don't skate much. I was a football player, basketball player, baseball growing up. So me putting on skates, I can do rollerblades, but ice hockey, oh man, that just seems extremely difficult. But kudos to those guys who can skate, turn, and just fly around at a high level. It's amazing.
I'd love to see Kyrou or Robert Thomas get a chance someday in one of those competitions because I think they could do pretty well.
I just want to see how fast they can fly. Like cars go 0 to 60 and how fast. I want to see how fast these guys can get up to top speed.
And
I'm
it's so
really
cool.
looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's so cool seeing that final straightaway where they've kind of worked their way through the pylons or whatever, and then they're just making that zoom right down Broadway to finish.
And I don't know if this is different this year, but you win $30,000
Oh, wow.
if you win one of the events.
Little incentive.
So hopefully they're giving it their all. I'm
Heck,
sure
they
they
should
will.
give me some skates. I'd give them all.
All right, let's move on here. Cardinals talk. The Nolan Arenado, the trade speculation, it's just not going away.
No.
And, man, I got to admit, I'm baited into thinking this is going to happen.
has to happen.
I'm
It has
probably,
to happen.
I think we might all be disappointed, but I don't see any other situation. If he leaves Colorado, I think it's got to be the Cardinals.
I'll just start. I mean, the Cardinals have to make a splash in the trade or free agency, whatever the case may be, this offseason to get this fan base excited because right now we're just staying stagnant. We're still the same team we were at the end of last year, and we proved that wasn't good enough to get the job done. So I believe you need that splash because let's be real, guys. Matt Carpenter, I love him. He was phenomenal 2 years ago, but last year he stunk it up. And you don't want someone like that when you have a Nolan Arenado out there who you can grab. You get him, you have possibly one of the best infields in Major League.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a generational talent who is available. And they're, by all speculation, they're checking it out with their due diligence. And I think Mo's going to make it happen at some point here eventually. I
think so too, because I think they after a winter of not really anything happening. I think there is the hope that he can set up and make that huge splash right before spring training. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm peeking ahead here. I think that the one thing that really might hold him back is the fact that the Cardinals would only have 2 more years before Arenado could opt out. But I think from a positive viewpoint, I mean, there's been a time where the Cardinals have acquired star players, and just being in Cardinal Nation atmosphere has won them over.
Mark McGuire, Matt Holliday.
Goldie, we got Goldie last year.
But he re-signed before he even played a game.
Yeah.
Right. And I just think being in that atmosphere, and if he wants to be in a winning atmosphere, you're right here. He doesn't seem to be like, I got to go to New York.
No,
or I've got to go to
I think
LA.
he's like a Goldschmidt type that wants to win and wants just a solid team that's going to compete every year.
And can you imagine him and Goldie at the corners?
Oh,
and then
man.
you got a shortstop who can hit 30 home runs, a Gold Glove, second baseman. It makes us not think about the outfield and all the problems that the Cardinals have out there, but you just think about the solid pitching that we do have, Flaherty, Michaelis, all those guys coming back, and then this infield. Oh, man, that'll be fun.
Oh, you could be losing some of that pitching to get Arenado, though.
Could.
But 7 Gold Gloves, and the guy's not even, I think he's 28?
He's not. I know he's not 30 yet.
That's a pretty good.
And
ratio.
we will find our pop in the lineup that the Cardinals were lacking last year. And I mean, obviously, another void to fill in Marcell Ozuna. Who knows what he's going to do? But
so there was a rumored report from a radio guy in Chicago. I don't know. I have no idea how that happened, but Dakota Hudson, Carlos Martinez, Tyler O'Neill, and the newly acquired Matt Liberatore for Arenado was what this one insider had heard. John Mozeliak said on KMOX, though, about 95% of the reported rumors are just that, rumors, and it's nonsense. But I don't know. That package as it is, I think, is a little steep. That's a lot of pitching.
That is a lot of pitching, but let me get my take on it. Carlos Martinez was up and down. We don't know whether he's going to be a bullpen guy or a starter. So you get Jordan Hicks back in your bullpen. That's our closer. And then Alex Reyes, I know we talk about him every year, but if he can be healthy, he replaces a Hudson and a Martinez. And then O'Neill, I mean, he strikes out more than anything.
Yeah, that's
Liebertor wouldn't be playing for 3 years here, so it's all about winning now, is it not?
It is about winning now. You've got to take care of today before you worry about tomorrow. But the concern for me, and it's not really a concern. I agree with you, Corey, that that's a lot of pitching here. But what else are the Rockies interested in trying to get? They've got to find somebody, that can pitch in that atmosphere, and so they're going to ask. I
think ideally the Cardinals want the Rockies to take Matt Carpenter's contract with this. I think that's for sure something that's going to have to happen. And the Rockies are going to want either Gorman or Carlson. I'm almost positive of that too. It's probably Gorman to be the next third baseman, which makes sense.
That makes sense.
So I don't think this is the deal that's going to end up getting it done. But I don't know. I think it's going to get done.
I
hope so.
Yeah, there is somebody that has their finger on the pulse of the situation because they keep kind of updating it. Cardinals have escalated their talks.
Yeah.
Cardinals and Rockies now talking specific players and whatever. So who knows? I just hope it gets done before spring training.
It's about time that Mozeliak makes a move.
He made a good one last year.
Well, you're right, Goldie, but we all felt like we were lacking one at the trade deadline last year and the previous one before that.
Well, here's the thing. I would rather have Arenado than Lindor or Mookie Betts. Is that the?
Did you see what he did against us last year, playing against us?
I'm not going to turn down a Lindor or Mookie Betts, though, case. Listen, if they strike out on Arenado, I'm going straight to the Red Sox and asking about Mookie. Well, actually,
that clears up
I'm doing it at the same time, to be totally honest, because I think he'd be a really good fit here as well.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And the Red Sox are definitely looking to get rid of money.
Oh, boy.
Let's move on to a little bit of the Red Sox. The hot stove, definitely not the biggest talker in baseball this week. MLB came down hard on the Astros in the sign-stealing scandal. Hinch, Lunau, both suspended a year. Jim Crane didn't think that was good enough. They're fired. They lost 4 draft picks, biggest fine they could get. Then the Red Sox fired Alex Cora, who was with apparently the ringleader of this whole thing in Houston, and then was already under more investigation with the Red Sox for cheating. And now the Mets are reportedly, according to Buster Olney, wavering in their support of Carlos Beltran, who hasn't even coached a game for the Mets, but was mentioned a bunch in the Astros report as a player. This is one of the biggest scandals in the history of baseball, and you could argue it's because of a trash can, which is kind of funny.
And it is the biggest scandal probably since a century ago, the Black Sox in 1919. It just affirms that in life, anybody that has a sterling reputation, you just can't take what's at face value because Alex Cora, by all accounts, a really good guy, a good leader, and went from bench coach of one world champion to the other world champion, or the world champion Red Sox the next year. Carlos Beltran was nothing but sterling.
Oh no, you can't find a bad word about Beltran.
And you just don't know.
Yeah.
Or in the words of Joaquin Andujar, you never know.
As far as Beltran, I mean, like Andy said, you just don't know. But as far as Hinch and Cora, gotta go. I mean, the MLB, I was proud of what they did. I mean, I wish they would have been able to do something about the World Series just for the fact that the Dodgers lost to the Red Sox and the Astros, Imagine how these players feel.
This is an interesting conversation. I don't think there's any... I'm not into stripping titles. I think that's crazy. You've seen them try and do it. Okay, USC didn't win that. Louisville didn't win. Come on, they won. Yeah. We know how it is. But I don't think that should be done in the pros. But if I'm a Dodgers fan now, I'm feeling pretty bad.
It's like, all right, you get it. Like Reggie Bush in his case with the Heisman Trophy. Like, he accepted some money, take his Heisman Trophy away. We still know what he did that season. But for the Astros, I mean, dude, what home run or you maybe wouldn't have got that double or triple if you weren't stealing signs.
But they were 8-1 in the. I think they were 8-1 at home in the 2017 playoffs.
The splits between home and road were ridiculous in the postseason. And here's a question for you. So then, if say the Astros lose a couple of those home games, if they were doing that stuff during the regular season, wink, wink, knowing that that it just didn't start in the postseason. So then let's say the Dodgers, that goes to the All-Star. But what if the Dodgers had home field advantage?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
There's a lot.
Like David Freese said it best.
Oh, yeah. David Freese came out. I was not expecting that, but he came out on Twitter. It's essentially ending with it like take back the ring or something like that. I thought, dang,
let me
David Freese coming out hot
with the hot take, and I
yeah.
love
they've put the hammer down on the leadership, the management, and whatever. Should any players have to face any scrutiny?
That's if you do one. How can you just reprimand like one? All right, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna go back? Everybody on that 2017 gets fined, or I don't know. It's funny. It's a player who kind of started this whole thing. Mike fires if he doesn't speak up. Who knows?
And that's what David Freese said in this tweet. He said, didn't really expect the punishments to be this harsh. Good for MLB stepping up. Still don't know what's more frustrating, though. An ex-teammate of the World Series title team talking publicly about his team cheating, or so many guys being down to use a damn trash can. Should take the ring.
Should take the ring.
So,
sign stealing's been going on since baseball started.
Well, one of the great moments in baseball history was the
shot heard around
the world, the 1951 New York Giants. And, stories have come out since then that there was a guy with a telescope in the center field stands who was doing an elaborate, sign system or whatever. And so here's one of the great moments, a team coming from 13 and a half games back to get into a playoff to win the, or a playoff for the National League pennant. Great home run, the walk-off home run, the Giants win the pennant, and it's tainted now.
Yeah.
Look, see, this is just a sore subject for me. I know you guys won't care, but I'm a huge Rams fan, and the Patriots recording their walkthrough practice the night before the Super Bowl.
What do you mean we won't? What do you mean we won't care? I'm still salty about Spygate.
So any type of cheating going on at the professional level is just uncalled for, and it shouldn't happen, especially when you have the best of the best athletes, best coaches, best trainers. There should be no cheating involved.
Well, that was kind of Frank's point last night. They had 9 All-Stars on that team. What's the point? Well, hopefully this is a clear message. Hey, don't mess around. Don't even remotely try to use technology or
just play ball.
You know when you're in the wrong.
Yeah.
So just operate with a higher ethical standard, and hopefully this doesn't happen again. All right. Final thought here, switching gears a little bit. We're about halfway through the prep hoop season. Just wanted to get a pulse. Everybody in the room, what's been your favorite maybe team player to watch so far? We've had some really good highlights. There's a lot of great teams here on both sides of the river. Ahmad, you go first.
Man, it's really hard. I was hoping you picked me last. I've covered a lot of basketball the past 2 months. I've watched a lot of these guys grow up. Caleb Love obviously is one of the more entertaining basketball players. He can shoot from anywhere now. He has an improved jump shot. He dunks every game. He gives you some type of highlight reel play. Vashon, their whole entire team. Phillip Russell, this guy who committed to SEMO. He's really, really outstanding. But then you can't forget the Melvilles and the Smets and Trinity Catholics. There's just so much talent in this area.
I mean, I'll go from the girls' side. I watched the Edwardsville girls play the other night, and they're really good. They are a solid team, and I expect to see them make some noise in the state tournament.
You were there. Yeah, Corey, you have a real gym on your side of the river.
Listen, Collinsville, they're going to have some tough. Well, they've had a tough schedule already. But I think they've got a chance to win state. They can beat these Chicago teams. They got to play Simeon still. They beat, who did they beat?
Morgan Park.
Was that at Morgan Park in overtime? So they can hang with the big boys. That Southwestern Conference seems like every year. So it's going to be somebody different that's just outstanding. Belleville West, East St. Louis, Collinsville.
Well, and the team to look for next year is O'Fallon.
O'Fallon, yeah.
And they gave Edwardsville all they wanted the other night, or Collinsville all they wanted or whatever. And they're mostly sophomores and juniors.
Yeah. Collinsville's deep too, and they'll give you a highlight every night. Also, they seem to know when. I don't know. I think they know when the camera shows up at the game. I've noticed them. I was covering them versus Belleville East. It was like a 4-point game, and there was maybe 6 minutes left in the first half. And by the time that was over, I'm not kidding, it was a 20-point game at halftime.
I mean, yeah.
They just turn it on.
And for those looking for good basketball this weekend, you have East St. Louis and CBC going toe-to-toe. That'll be a really good game.
That should be fun.
Yeah, and you just can't get over the type of games that we have. Like later this year, Jordan Nesbitt and St. Louis Christian Academy will go toe-to-toe with Vashon at Vashon. That atmosphere will be crazy.
I like the scheduling around these teams. Know it's going to be a big event, and they seem to schedule that
tough
way.
Teams. The good teams here are scheduling tough teams. Like CBC and Vashon's schedule, it's a gauntlet. They have nothing but tough competition, but that's what fans want to see.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Sports Plus podcast. Be sure to download and subscribe. Also, rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts.